Nick Leeson, one of the most infamous traders in the history of Wall Street. 1995, he was said to have brought down Barings Bank by betting and losing more than $1 billion. The rogue trader, now working for celebpoker.com, an internet gambling site, as one of several celebrities who were offered up as competition for those who would choose to compete with them online. And joining us now from Galway, Ireland, Nick Leeson. And Mr. Leeson, why the decision to come back to the public universe, if you will, or to introduce yourself once again to the public universe by way of an online poker website?
Well, I think when I returned from Singapore, I mean, one of the things that really struck me at the time was the rise and of the online gaming industry. And so, I started to play poker a little bit online myself, and then I was fortunate enough to become associated with Celeb Poker, and it offers me an avenue to earn some income at the moment.
Do you believe, I want to go back to sort of what got you to where you are today, but do you believe that there have been changes on Wall Street that would prevent somebody today from putting the types of positions that you were able to put on at Barings?
I'm sure that there have been. I mean, the checks that should have been put on my operation in Singapore were very, very simple checks, things that you would have learnt in the first week, basically, in a new job, and I'm sure that those controls are in place. But you do see these sort of things occurring again. You had your own scandal recently, or in the last 2 years in Baltimore with All First, and just at the beginning of this year there was another rogue trading scandal at National Australia Bank. So it does recur, and the only reason it can recur is with the same level of negligence and incompetence that was, throughout the whole story at Barings at the time. And
the greed and avarice of a rogue trader.
Of course, the greed and avarice has to go with it, and the incompetence, my incompetence was at the forefront of all of that as well, and is in all of these cases.
Is there something on a cultural level about Wall Street that makes this an inevitable recurrence forever because of the dominance of greed and avarice, not just of rogue traders, but so many that are involved in the financial industry, that, for instance, in your case, when they see the early profits that are generated by someone like you at the age that you were, in your mid-20s, a normal person might say, okay, we should check this, but to check it is to deny myself a bonus, and so I don't do that. And as long as that's part of the culture, will there always then be room for the rogue trader to take advantage of any given bank?
I think there's always a little bit of room for a bit of rogue trading to occur, but I think those checks are quite stated within all of the organisations now, and there are levels of checking that's done. And then even with Sarbanes-Oxley, which has been brought in this year, you've got the whistleblowing idea where people are going to give information on people that they think are doing stuff, wrongdoings within the company. So I think there are enough controls there. And whilst you may see rogue trading on a minor scale, I don't think it's ever gonna reach the proportion that it did at Barings ever again.
Do you fancy yourself a good poker player?
You'll have to come online and find out. I think I'm probably the person that gives it away more easily of all the celebrities that they have amassed on the site. I tend to get a little bit more involved in the interactive stuff. You can chat online and have a bit of a laugh while you're playing. That probably interests me a little bit more at the moment. But I'm certainly a little bit more careful with my money than I was when I was at Barings.
So the idea is that anyone can log on and try and play a game of poker with you. Are you playing with your own money when you do this?
I do play with my own money. Celeb Poker very kindly do give me an amount every quarter or so, but I tend to lose it in the first couple of weeks, so I have to top it up with my own. But it's a great environment. There is a bit for anybody who's coming in. There's obviously anonymity when they play online. You don't have to go into a card room, and it's in the comfort of your own home as well. So I think it's a great way to move the game forward. And poker's such a trendy game as well at the moment. So I can only see it growing.
When you're losing playing poker, much as you were losing in the bets in Asia, do you still have that same inclination to double down and re-up the trade, or do you fold them now?
No, I've curbed that a little bit, and my wife keeps hold of the credit card, so she makes sure that I can't put too much money in the account, and so no, things are a lot safer, and I'm very mindful of what I do now.
What kind of chat do you hear from people when you're playing with them, and how many people do you play a month?
I tend to play in games where there's 5 players, but there are other tables where there's 10. So there's 1 or 2 people on the table who want to talk to you, and they want to know what it was like to lose all of that money, and they want to know what you're doing now. And I've had lots of different life experiences as well, not just the collapse of the bank. I had cancer while I was diagnosed with cancer while I was in prison as well. So sometimes you get people asking those sort of questions. It's just whatever interests them, and I'm up there to answer the questions. But there's 30 other people as well that they can, or at least 30 other people online that they can choose to play with as well. And there's many interesting characters there as well.
I'm assuming that when you're in the process of watching the loss of $1.3 billion of someone else's money, that you want to throw up.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the most embarrassing period of my life, and something that I'm having to come to terms with all of the time. And quite how I used to go from one day to the next is kind of beyond me now when I look back. And I was never trying to make any money or take any money for myself, and I was only ever trying to get out of the situation. But as the controls weren't there, all I ever managed to do was dig myself deeper and deeper into trouble.
All right, Mr. Leeson, a pleasure. Thanks for the time. Nick Leeson with us from Galway, Ireland. Coming up on Bullseye, Hewlett-Packard.